What's up, people? You're watching Chimp Skills. I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. So the first question you might have is, what is intermittent fasting? Essentially, it's going extended periods of time without eating. So the protocol that I've been following has been 16 hours of fasting with 8 hours of eating. So you're not eating for the whole 8 hours, but yeah, that's the opportunity you have to eat within that certain period of time. So in a practical sense, what it looks like is if I was to stop eating, say for instance, dinner at 8 p.m, I'd go to sleep, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd skip breakfast and fast for about the first 5 to 6 hours after waking. So for me, from 8 p.m, 16-hour window would take me through till 12 p.m. the following day. So the main meal that you're missing out is breakfast. So you think about it, and breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, this is what it really got me thinking, is that, a lot of these, just expressions or, rules of thumb, it really gets challenged with a lot of the science. And if you're trying to lose weight, skipping breakfast may be actually the best thing for you. I didn't really need to lose weight per se. I was interested in seeing what the effects would be on the body. So I've been doing it for 5 months now, so I've had a fair bit of experience with it. The main benefits I have noticed is a decrease in body fat, which has been pretty substantial, especially belly fat. So a lot of my clothes and stuff are actually a lot looser. I have noticed a slight decrease in muscle mass, which could be a result of not eating enough calories within that 8-hour window. I'm not someone who's going to count calories. I cannot be asked. It's just too much work. I eat when I'm hungry, but I was sick for a bit, so I wasn't eating as much. And what I have found is you do not get as hungry. So yeah, you're going to be hungry some of the time towards lunchtime after you fasted, but you'll find that when you eat, you can't eat as much as you normally would. And if you are trying to lose weight, what I would definitely recommend is doing intermittent fasting, especially if you're significantly overweight. A lot of the studies that I read for people who are losing weight, the most obese trial participants in the trial lost the most amount of weight and found it the most beneficial. So if anything, you're trying to lose weight and you don't want to change your diet, you don't want to exercise, I would definitely recommend just try intermittent fasting. Skip breakfast, fast for 16 hours, so the first 5 to 6 hours after waiting, don't eat anything, and then just see how it goes. Because there's certain hormones that are having an effect on the body when you kick in those fasts, and there's different processes that are taking place that I believe will definitely have a benefit. So yeah, if you're trying to lose weight, I definitely recommend it. I also was interested in the mental benefits you can get from it, so in regards to brain function. So there's been a big sort of kick in regards to fasting at the moment. There's a lot of sort of celebrities, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, like business executive sort of people that are tinkering around with fasting, ketogenic diets in regards to improving mental function. One of the things I noticed when you are in a fasted state, especially if you can extend that fast, say to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, so you go into sort of 18, 20 hours, your brain function goes up. Like you actually feel a lot more alert and a lot sharper. So typically you're not getting those insulin spikes and dips that you would if you were eating sort of, heavy carbohydrate meals. So I definitely noticed improvement in that and being able to make more effective decisions and just think clearer. The science that would align with that would be looking at when everything we do creates free radicals, and those free radicals within our body cause oxidative stress, which can then lead to inflammation. So when you breathe, you create free radicals. When you eat, you create free radicals. When you exercise, you create free radicals. Everything we do creates free radicals. So we're taking away the eating, the body is creating less oxidative stress, decreasing inflammation, and then allowing for higher cognitive function in regards to us using our brains. Some of the other benefits that are out in regards to intermittent fasting is increases in growth hormone. So when you are fasting, throughout the morning, they've measured in human participants increases in growth hormone. So that's where they've showed an improvement in people's lean muscle mass. So like I mentioned, I have experienced weight training in the morning. It didn't affect my strength really at all, but I definitely would say that I wouldn't be doing a heavy sort of anaerobic exercise. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I've tried to train in the morning when I've been in a fasted state and just failed miserably. So if you're doing some form of controlled exercise, I would recommend it. So if you're weight training, if you're doing aerobic exercise that's on the bike or jogging, constant pace sort of stuff, probably won't have much of an effect. But if you're going to play sport, or if you're going to do anything that's really heavy anaerobic, I would recommend probably doing it in the afternoon or eating before, because I failed miserably when I've tried to do that. Some of the other benefits that are out there are, you're looking at hormone improvements. So like I mentioned, you've got the growth hormone, but you've also got some of the other mental or brain hormones. So you've got one called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So when you're going through fasting periods, BDNF is going up. And what they've noticed is people who suffer from things like depression and other sort of neural disorders, BDNF is a hormone that's actually decreasing. So there can be some effects on positive, brain effects on the body. Also, there is improvements in regards to cellular removal of waste, or cleanup. So there's a process where our body is removing cells that are not desirable. So they might be precancerous cells or just mutated cells. And this process is called autophagy. So when the body is going through fasting, autophagy is increasing. So the body's able to get rid of all these undesirable cells and have a more effective cleanup process, which leads on to the potential benefits of decreasing things like cancer, Alzheimer's and that. Now the science on this isn't solid. I wouldn't be saying it's definite, but there's definitely benefits that have been associated with fasting, and it could be potential benefits of things like decreasing cancer and Alzheimer's. But I wouldn't be swearing to you black and white that it's definitely going to happen. There has been animal studies that have showed decreasing cancer from rats who were fasted or going through intermittent fasting, as opposed to rats who had never fasted before. And then there's also some longevity studies, which is probably one of the main areas I was interested in as well, is that, for the rat studies they've done, the rats who were fasted lived up to 83% longer than rats who hadn't fasted at all. And if you look at some of the hardcore, Silicon Valley guys and sort of electronic inventor kinds, there's a really strong movement in regards to this whole longevity thing. So some of them are really into fasting for full days. So they might do the 2 and 5. So for 5 days during the week, they'll eat normally. And then for 2 days during the week, they'll fast completely. Or they're on a complete caloric restricted diet every day. So I think it's 11 or 1200 calories, and they're called cronies. And I watched this whole documentary on that on the plane coming back from the States. Super interesting. But there seems to be a trend in regards to fasting or decreased caloric intake and improvement in longevity, which I thought was pretty cool. And if you look at the way that, cancer is derived from the cells that are in our body, but essentially, there's mutations and then they're just replicating constantly after that. And then when we restrict the amount of nutrition that's available to the body, then it has to prioritize where it allocates that nutrition. So those cells that are less desirable, or those precancerous cells, on a restricted calorie diet or when we're fasting, they're not getting the nutrition they need, so they're not able to replicate, as opposed to someone who may be excessively eating. So that's not concrete science, but the trends and the theory behind it look like it makes sense. But I definitely think it's a space to watch to see what's going to happen in the future, because there seems to be more and more people becoming interested in that, and then as that happens, there should be more human trials. And then after that, hopefully, we can get the benefits long term. The one other thing that I will mention as well that definitely is a benefit, but you have to be careful with it, is that your insulin sensitivity does go up. So say for instance, if I fasted all through the night and in the morning, your insulin sensitivity is increased massively. So that can be one of the side effects of type 2 diabetes, is we actually decrease our insulin sensitivity. So if you're type 2 diabetic, there may be some improvements that you could get from intermittent fasting. However, if you have a large carbohydrate meal straight after your fast, you're going to crash. And I've experienced this firsthand a couple of times where I had a vegetarian meal, which was like sweet potato and chickpeas and all this sort of stuff, and I felt terrible. So on either end of the fast, actually, I would recommend higher protein and fat and less carbohydrate. One, before you fast, so at your dinner, if it's around the 8 or 9 p.m., That way you're going to get through the next day because you're going to have amino acids from the protein that you consumed, and also the fat is going to give you a longer lasting feeling of being full, and you're going to have that energy that's going to extend. You're not going to spike your insulin as much. And on the tail end, after you fast, I would definitely recommend ingesting a higher amount of fat and protein, so you don't spike your insulin straight after you eat. Once you've had that first meal afterwards, it's generally, like, I find it pretty fine to do, but I wouldn't have like a massive bowl of pasta or anything like that post or before your fast, otherwise you're going to feel not so good. So guys, that's it from me. I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, share it. Keen to hear your comments if you've had any experience with this yourself. Like I mentioned, like, this isn't the complete science on it. If you want more information, definitely have a look out there. There's a lot that's out there, but I think in the years to come we're going to find out a lot more, and hopefully get a better handle of how to do this and how to maximize its potential. Look guys, until next time, peace.